Okay, I am joined by Paul Rosenberg again, and I'm really, really excited for today's topic because this is something that I thought only existed in books, but Paul's going to kind of spill the beans a little bit and tell us what's going on in the intelligence communities and kind of how they're protecting themselves from all the hacking and the security breaches and everything that's happening in the world. Now, Paul Rosenberg is an expert on digital security, and he also writes an amazing newsletter, and he talks about some of these things. So straight off the bat, Paul, well, first of all, welcome, and then
Thank you.
I really want to dig into this. Isn't this a problem, all this hacking that's going on? How are security agencies and security intelligence agencies dealing with this?
Well, there's two basic ways that they do it. One is for their offices. They have teams of professionals that are manning their firewalls and all of their various protocols. So if you get like the CIA in Langley, Virginia, and I don't know exactly what they have, but they have a lot of people that are just tasked to computer security. And you can understand that's their job, and they're incredibly well funded. They can hire any number of people they want, and they do, to keep their facilities safe. So you have the inside people. The more interesting one is the outside people. Now, there's been a huge trend in the intelligence agencies to bring all of the outside, to reduce the numbers of outside people and replace them with inside people. You can see this in the Bond films.
Okay.
What was the last, I think it's the most recent Bond film that was out, and they actually had this problem. They were closing down the outside agents and bringing it all on the inside and doing it all with surveillance. And just so anybody knows, James Bond is wonderful entertainment. It is so far from the reality of actual intelligence. So if you ever meet somebody and they confess to you that they were an agent for someone or someone else, I know we all feel this, oh, was it like James Bond? It's not like James Bond. And they will be insulted if you call them James Bond. Okay. So
it's a good preface. It's a good preface.
It's worth saying. So the outside guys, it is a problem to them because they can be, blown, as they say, for any number of ways. I don't know if it's still the rule, but British intelligence, they had a standing rule that you may not bring a cell phone within 30 miles of an operation.
30 miles?
30 miles. You cannot bring a cell phone within 30 miles of an operation. Because it's just, you can't protect a cell phone. A cell phone, the network is the problem. And it's, it's not, the network itself isn't evil by itself. It's just a particular type of network built a certain way, the way they built the old phone system. And they just built off of that. But it's a problem for anything like security. It's really easy for someone with just basic skills to tap into cell phones. You need two frequencies and you got everything.
So then how are operatives communicating with each other or with other people when they're on the ground?
When they're on the ground, let's say I am an agent for the U.S. government, since I'm American, and I want to...
Which he's not, just to...
Which I am not.
I hope.
No, I promise you I am not. But if let's say I'm an agent for the U.S. government, I'm in, Caracas, and I want to deal with, the assistant secretary of, whatever, and get information, it's a real serious problem because you can't do the internet anymore. The internet is the one place you can be absolutely sure that everything you say can and will be used against you.
Yeah,
it just is. So they're going back to the old-fashioned spycraft. Wow. With dead drops. I'll make a mark on the door frame of such and such a building, when you walk by on Tuesday mornings, if you see a mark, they go into the park underneath the culvert. There's going to be a box. That's what they do now.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll be walking through the train station at precisely 4:23, and I will hand you an envelope. Keep walking. I'll walk. Somebody's going to walk into the bank with a blue bag over their left shoulder and, wearing a red scarf. And you will walk up to them and say, "Hi, have you seen the number 43 bus?" And they will say to you some specific words. That's what they do now.
It's like when I was reading spy novels from, Soviet Union Cold War or something like that.
They're back to that kind of stuff because you have to go off grid.
Yeah.
And so that's really more what they do now. And if they have to send something, a lot of times they use the mail.
Yeah. Like just snail mail.
Just regular snail mail.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's from people to people when they're in the country itself. But what happens when they need to speak to, home office, when they need to talk to their superior?
That's a real problem for them. They can have with them a special computer that's specially set up to do, but after you do it once, you pretty much got to be done and get the hell out, because that traffic can be seen that it is odd.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have any inkling, these guys, they enter these countries under these, pretexts of being a businessman for that or a businessman for this. The guys on the other side are smart too. Mm-hmm. They're not dumb. And the guys on the other side are just as smart and just as motivated. And they're looking, they know who to look for. Mm-hmm. And so if you reveal something like that, you better be on your way out. So it's a real problem for them. They try to carry special devices and just turn them on, use them, destroy them, and go. Things like that, or they don't communicate until they're back, mm-hmm. until they're out at a separate third location. Mm-hmm. Or if in desperation they'll take a train to the next town, and hijack something from somewhere, steal somebody's cell phone and use it, mm-hmm. Something like that. And then take a train back. They will, do things like that, but it's a real problem for them.
Wow. Well, I think this is an interesting topic. Well, first of all, it's just an interesting topic, full stop. But I think it's also interesting because it really highlights that even if intelligence agencies are having problems with hacking and spying and are not secure, then, what does that mean for everyday folk like you and I who are trying to protect ourselves? So it really goes back on a lot of the conversations that we've had, and it just really highlights the importance of these things and how serious people really need to take them. So I really appreciate you taking the time and kind of talking us through these things, because it is very important stuff.
My pleasure.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Paul, and I'll talk to you soon.